Welcome to the Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Solis, and with me is my very, very talented friend who I would follow into battle whenever she may ask, the mixtress DC Gina.
I love that. For me, it'd be more like, 1 o'clock in the morning, it happened. We gotta get rid of this body. It wouldn't be a battle, it'd be like, oh, it's real.
Yeah, well,
You got any lime? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to let anyone know whether or not you actually have made that call or not. We should leave that as a mystery.
The great mystery of the women of DC.
Exactly. So it's Women's Month. Continue honoring this month.
Hoorah.
Yes, I'd like to first share a really extraordinary story of two fierce sisters. All right? And this one's a little long, but please stay with me. So long before women revolutionaries were around, like Joan of Arc or Catherine of Aragon, we both know them, there were two high-born Vietnamese sisters that rallied their people in order to fight against the oppression in the year of 43 AD.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going back in time. They were known simply as the Trung Sisters. It was Trung Track and Trung, if I'm correct, hopefully I get this correct, I believe it's Ni. They raised an army of over 80,000 soldiers and went into battle against the Han Chinese. They were being obviously overtaken by a much larger force. With their little battalion of 80,000, it was led by 36 female generals. And they were armed simply with swords, bows and arrows, axes, and spears. And the sisters, with their little mighty force, stormed 65 Chinese-run citadels and the governor's home, which successfully forced that Chinese leader out of the country.
That's amazing.
Yep. And after that badass act of badassery, I'd like to say,
I love that.
you like that? Badass act of badassery. Track was declared queen of this newly created independent space, or country, and she formally reigned alongside with her sister for 2 years. Unfortunately, when the Chinese Empire came back in 41 AD, they were a little caught off back on their heels and a little unprepared, and were unable to defend themselves or to stay them off. But it is crazy that they were able to do that for that long, and they have gone on into history as obviously badass chicks. The legends are still told to this day, and within many temples, there are shrines to them that many still worship. And if I'm correct, they worship them for water, because it is thought that the legend is that they drown themselves as opposed to being captured.
100%, I would take myself out before I would let somebody kill me.
Yeah. So that's it.
That's real dark right now. It got really dark, but I'm totally okay with it. So if we're gonna take over something and murder somebody, then you're not gonna get to kill me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No.
So good thing I talked about getting the body.
There you go. Now we know. No concrete shoes for you.
No.
So, speaking of extraordinary women with remarkable stories that should be shared, brings me to today's designated drinker. She also happens to understand strength and unity. The founder of CAMPspace, Patrice Cameau.
Nope. Patrice Cameau.
Patrice Cameau. You jinxed yourself.
I did, and
Say it
I did
again.
so well with the Vietnamese thing.
I like Patricia. I mean, I don't know who she is.
I was
like
getting
her.
so anxious.
It's okay.
Do it again.
Patrice Cameau.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
There you go. Perfect.
But anyway, let's talk about CAMPspace and what it's all about.
Yes. So thank you for having me. I really enjoyed that brief history lesson. So I'm Patrice. I'm the founder and CEO of CAMPspace, and CAMPspace is a brick and mortar studio that gives entrepreneurs and creatives, beautiful space to build out their content, right? So that's content that markets their business, that's content to tell their stories. When I opened the business a few years ago, and I know we'll talk about that story, there really weren't spaces to go to create dope things. And I knew that because I needed a space to do that, right? And so I opened a brick and mortar space, and yeah, that's what I do. I love content creators, specifically Black women content creators. I get very excited when I see all these new things and ways that people are doing what they do and telling their story. So just to be a part of that or have a place where that happens, feels really good.
See, I was comfortable showing my bad side or my vulnerable side to her because she gets creative people. She gets the fact that I'm going to screw up.
Listen.
And love me for it.
Okay. It's okay.
First of all, I love that you did that. So tell me, it's not like an office space, like where people go and,
Right.
Is it? No.
Well, yeah, actually, it started as that, right? So I am from Prince George's County, Maryland. Was born in D.C., from Prince George's County, Maryland. Went to University of Maryland and lived in the best. Like, where else would anybody want to go?
I mean, seriously.
But I worked as a PR consultant for many years. And I never had a place to work remotely, right? This is when WeWork was everything. And living in the Hyattsville, Prince George's County area, I didn't want to have to come to DC to co-work. And I said, well, I'm going to open a co-work space. So in 2016, I went along this journey, and it's crazy because that happened. My husband and I miscarried. This was in September of 2015. And I cried and did all the things for a day. And the day after, I went to Bikram yoga. And I said, I'm going to open my space. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, God took one baby, so I'm gonna have another baby.
Wow.
And so then January of 2016, that's when I had the first co-work day to just build community, and did that for 2 years every month to just like get people to understand, because you can be in, you can be in DC and totally live a life. In Prince George's County is 5 minutes.
Yep.
And there's things that exist in DC that Prince Georgians have no idea what that is. And co-working was one of those things.
Yeah.
So when I finally opened in 2018, it was a co-work space. It was a place where you had a monthly membership. You come in, you work, you get all the free coffee, and you can use a printer. But I needed to pivot because people were booking the space to create content. I had a lot of moms and people who had these side hustles. They worked full-time jobs, but they had side hustles, and they just needed a place to create their branding. And so they would do that on evenings and weekends. That was bringing much more money than co-working.
Interesting.
So we had to switch it up.
I think that's really interesting too, is that when my business partner and I just had a meeting yesterday, as a matter of fact, talking about where we are, what's happening, how things had developed, and where things are like so very successful, where we thought this was going to be it, and it's over here. And I think what that is you have to have that openness to hear that and to grow from that, and not say not that you lose yourself, because you are steadfast in your belief, but in what you're doing. And maybe there's a pivot point in there, which I hate that word, but true. There's a pivot point that you're like, I didn't expect that.
Yep.
And to be able to grasp a hold of that and take that and make that a success, I think sometimes takes maybe some audacity and some bravery in that you are admitting that, okay, I thought it was going to be giraffes and it turned out to be rhinos or whatever it may be.
Bravery, and I think in humility also, to trust that your customers may know more. Your customers should be telling you how to move.
Yeah.
So when you get to a point where you're not listening to them, then you have you're missing the mark there, right? Like, your customers are always should be guiding you to where the business should go, assuming you're staying in the same vein, you're not hurting anybody, right? It's all on the up and up. And my customers were telling me that, like, girl, this is a photo. We're going to get these photos. We're going to get these videos. And I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then you get to be a part of that creative space. You're like an incubator for that creative space. That's awesome.
Yeah, that for me, that's the best part. If I'm just happen to be on a website or on scrolling social media and I see a coach, a life coach who's helping all these women, right, do their thing. And I say, oh, that's camp. And it's just like, yo, that's crazy. That's the best part. And like, we've been on TV shows and all those things, and those things are great. They help with visibility and PR, but it's those stories. The mom of 3 who works a full-time job and just needs this for herself and needs to go away to do it because she does not want to create in her house with all her kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had 2 kids at home.
Right? And so, like, just to be able to give
calls in the bathroom.
You did.
It's not like...
Actually, we did that the other day. We were talking.
I had to hide
like,
in a bathroom
bathroom closet. I'm typically in my closet. Yeah. Like I have to close the bedroom door and then go in the closet and close that door too.
They're at the door. They're at the door. I'm like, what are you doing?
Leave me alone.
How is it possible that the phone rings and you need to and you need me?
They know.
But all day long, I could be like, nothing.
They're insane. I say my kids are insane all the time, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't put that on them. But they're wild. Like, who are you? I don't know. But yeah.
I'm just going to say, they say the nuts don't fall far from the tree.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I know. I hear them say things sometimes.
I'm not owning that. Nope. Maybe their dad's tree. But I was a really great, quiet, did whatever, played by myself kid. And that's how my oldest son is. So he, my tree. But these two, the babies, no. That's all dad.
It must be somebody else.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Switched at birth.
They are off the chain. But no, so just seeing that it's a space for, these people, typically women, right? We're in, International Women's History Month. It makes me happy, right? So
that's awesome.
You have to do, if nothing else that we've all learned in the last few years. If you're not happy, then change it. Because there is no reason to keep going, right? Like none.
But so many people do though. So many people just keep going, right? And we got to change it.
I mean, I feel like there's sometimes you get wrapped up in a lifestyle, and you're used to, maybe making 7 figures. Right? Say you're making $1 million a year. Now you have this lifestyle that costs, $900,000 a year to run.
Yep.
And you're like, holy shit, I can't not like my life. I can't do that. But what I love is the movement where everyone now is like, fuck it, sell your house, live in a trailer. I work remotely. I live in Yellowstone half the fucking year. I'm like, I have a girlfriend that literally is a lawyer, attorney, and she lives remote. She does remotely, and she converted this crazy van into the cutest thing, and she travels all around the country, and that's what she does.
I love it.
She's an attorney, and she works.
Still doing the work, right?
And she's banking all of that, and I feel like that's super strong and amazing. So when you said, I have to change this, right? You're like, I have to change this because it's what they're telling me to do. I think there's something to that. And sometimes I think the universe tells you.
Well, it's the fear that keeps you back from doing it. It would be purely fear. I mean, okay, common sense too, but fear. Fear on that is, from what you said though, I'm really happy that I don't have make $1 million a year and that I have to maintain that $900,000 lifestyle you were talking about. I'm very fortunate not to have that.
It's true though.
I love that outlook.
People do that though. They're insane.
Well, it's like buying the house but not being able to put furniture in it, right? Because you've gone outside, you've reached too far, and now you're a prisoner to what should be your home, where you find joy.
I bought quite a few chickens these days, so not gonna lie. I live on a farm now.
That sounds so peaceful.
It is very peaceful, but I'm obsessed. So there's this thing called chicken math. So when you get chickens, people are like, oh, you're gonna get 6 chickens, right? That's enough for your family. And then you get the chicks and they're really fucking cute, and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna get 6 more. Because they lay all these different eggs. And the next thing I know, we had 24 chickens. Whoa. And my husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know what happened. When I found all my people, you talk about content creators, I found my people on Instagram that have this thing called chicken math, where they just keep multiplying because when it gets out of control, because you want all the different colored eggs, it becomes a thing. These chickens don't lay. Now you have all these chickens, and then they know that you're their keeper, so they come flying to the fence, and I free range, so they can they have their own space to eat everything natural, and they see me coming, and here she comes, and they come flying over, and I'm like, I love all the chickens, and is there a dozen eggs? Wait, hold on, so I have a point to this. Dozen eggs in the grocery store, the nicest eggs you could possibly get, the most delicious. Expensive, are $4.99.
They are.
Okay. The amount of money I spend on these chickens, if I was to sell my eggs and make no profit, would be something like $15. Because I literally can't stop with them. I'm like, it's just gonna keep going. So basically, I can never not work or live in a van because I have all my chickens.
Because all your chickens.
You're a prisoner to the chickens.
You're a prisoner to the chickens.
I am.
And not the BMW.
To birds. To literally birds.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
That's bird shit crazy.
It is that tall. Yeah, I got it.
That's good.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's where you become,
That's
right?
funny.
Anyway, I want to go back to what you said about the customers.
Yeah.
You know, small business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And listening to your group, your focal group's right in front of you at all times, right? And like, I feel like that is an amazing thing to really come to grips with as an owner, as a CEO, as somebody that works for somebody that maybe you don't own it, to like really listen to what people are saying to you, because that's hard.
Hard in life, right? Like, and I'll be honest, like me and my husband, we've been married for probably like 13 years, and we're like in the outs right now. And, just to hear the feedback is hard. But I promise you, on every level of life, you just got to be able to listen. And you also have to be self-aware.
Sure.
Business
Absolutely.
aware. And I tweeted this out a couple months ago. It said interestingly enough, those who make everything about them often lack the one thing that is all about them, accountability, right? So if the business doesn't make money because you're not doing what your customers are telling you, or you do what your customers are telling you, but it wasn't clean, and the couch was kind of broke, and they tell you that you can't take it personal, right? Like this is business. Make it right for them. And that's something I've had to learn, right? Because I would take it very personal in the beginning. At this point, the business is very customer facing, and I am said person that the customers are facing. It's me that you're talking to, which I need to get out of that. I have to figure out how to separate myself. But I would take it personal
drama.
Yeah, like I have to get a VA that can answer calls, but that's a whole nother conversation. I would take it so personal, right? And then I said, this isn't personal. They're just telling you how to make the business better.
Yeah.
Like, this is a good thing. You want this feedback.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, okay, thank you so much. Everything responding with a smile because it's not personal. They're not saying my house is dirty. They're just saying, we didn't sweep. The cleaning lady didn't sweep the right way, or I didn't schedule the cleaning like I should have. You know what I'm saying? Like accountability. And also I feel, and this could be wrong, it's just kind of how the world we live in, entrepreneurship, business owner, a lot of times when we're talking about those things, we're talking about ourselves. We're not talking about the service that we're offering. We're well, I'm a business owner and I'm doing this and da-da-da-da. But I think we got to start shifting the conversation of this is how I am serving my customers. This is what I'm learning. So, just hearing, being accountable on all parts, and just being aware, knowing what's up.
My thing is when you were saying that is it's that awareness, and then in your business, you are the brand. There is no way to separate those things, even if you want to.
Yeah.
If you go through the world in a certain way that is working against your business, it's probably working against you too. The truth is, it's probably working against you as well.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that self-awareness is real. Because the other thing is then you carry it with you too. And that's the part that can wear you, that's not going to bring you joy, that's not going to bring you to a happier space.
Yep.
So what wakes you up in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
You ever have that when you
God.
wake up and you're like, God, okay.
This morning, 2 a.m. I was on the phone with my mom driving here. I'm like, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning looking at the schedule for this conference I'm going to, and just it's never ending. It's nonstop. But I'll tell you, I am so thankful that I get to mull over and wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning for something that I love and something that I built and something that I have the vision for, because I'm not sure I was the best employee, right? Self-awareness. I do good work, but it was just like, this is, why am I here? This is whack. I don't want to be here.
If you're saying that, I would say this, so when I have a lot of my people have gone out and gotten different jobs, from where I own restaurants, and they're always like, was I a good employee? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, what would you tell me now? I'm like, look for the things you love about yourself and an employee. If you're dedicated, whatever, and then try to accept that other people won't be that right away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. You got to just kind of always, help them become better versions of themselves, and don't input yourself on them, because it's not fair.
That's right. They're not.
So you might have not just been the right employee for that position.
And my bosses sucked. I did not have great mentors.
Always
and I
be a
learned
nice
that.
boss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm learning that now. Like the interns that work for me, my virtual assistant, like it's always just positive, right? Because like this isn't personal for them. They didn't build this. This we got to keep things professional. And at the end of the day, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're adding here. So I'm always like, I call her my little sister at this point. She was my intern, another terp, for about 2 years, and she's moved on. She's now like a social media manager. I gave her a raving review for her job. We link up probably once a quarter. Like, like these are the relationships that I want.
It's a nice mentorship.
Yeah.
And it's important. That's really important. Like, especially growing a business and growing what you want to do. Because like, I'm sure that like somewhere in your plan is like, what's the next steps, right? Yep. Do I do another one? Am I going to brand it? How am I going to brand it differently? Like, what does 2 look like, right? So there's like the thing where they say, 1 is your love, and that's what you're very attached to. Your second one's your mistake, because you're going to take all the things you thought you were supposed to change and put it in 2. And then it'll be your third one. You'll come back to some hybrid of why you did the first one, the mistakes you made in 2, and the third one usually defines your brand. And like, it's so crazy because you can read it in 1,000 books. You could read it over and over again. And you're like, yeah. And then you living it and you're like, fuck. Yeah. I read that. I could do that. And then you don't.
You don't.
You know what I think we should do?
Oh, let's have a cocktail.
Let's go do it.
Let's do it.
Yay.
Let's do it. We're gonna mosey over to the bar.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. This is new and fun. So today we're gonna make a cocktail which is really inspired by like tropical flavors, and we're gonna use one of my favorite ingredients that's available seasonally. They're called groundberries or gooseberries, and you can find them. They're kind of wonderful. They're grown in these little green husks, and they're grow on the ground, and you might even step on a few and not even know what they are. But they're delicious, and thank God for places like, our Wegmans, Trader Joe's, that say Whole Foods that says, eat these delicious things, they're good for you. Okay?
There you go.
So we're gonna ungood it for you, and I'm gonna put a ton of vodka in it. And then, and that's good for your mental health.
There you go.
So we're gonna be something good for your body, and then mental health, vodka it right up. Okay.
I'm with it.
So what we're gonna start off with is 1.5 ounces of Kettle One vodka, 3 to 4 gooseberries, 1 ounce of cranberry simple syrup. You're gonna get a sprig of sage. And what you're gonna do is take your gooseberries and put it inside of a shaker tin. So we will put that in. And then we're gonna use a little bit of cranberry syrup. If you don't have cranberry syrup at home, that's not a problem. You can make it very simple. It's a simple syrup. So you would use that in place of the water. So you use like 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of cranberry juice, and you would cook it down. And if you don't want to do that, you could use just simple syrup in this cocktail. It just won't be red. All right, so we're gonna muddle the gooseberries, and be careful with them. They jump up like in the shaker tin, but they're really, really lovely. And you get this like bittersweet, like Sour Patchy Kid kind of flavor, which is kind of awesome,
That's a professional term, just so you know.
It is a professional term. And we're gonna take, all right, so we're making 2 cocktails, right? So we're gonna take 1 sage leaf and we're gonna put it in there, and you're gonna reserve 1 sage leaf for your cocktail, and you're gonna use in there, so you have the Kettle One, the vodka, the cranberry, and a little bit of lemon. Again, if you miss anything, you can go to Designated Drinker Show, and you'll have the how-tos and how to make the cocktails and all of the things. All right? So pour that in because we're on site. And now we're gonna fill this with some ice. Okay. And we're shaking. Sorry.
That's the best part.
Yeah. It's such a magical sound.
Right? It's like, goodness is coming.
You want to shake this really well, and you could serve this over ice or serve it up, but we're gonna put a little bit of Topo Chico on here.
Okay, what's that?
It's a type of soda water, but it's really triple carbonated. It's really yummy, and I love it. So it just kind of makes it like super refreshing. But when you use any kind of muddled drink and you're gonna use this, again, you wanna double strain them. So you're gonna take a smaller strainer so it stays nice and clean. You're gonna fill this about 3/4 of the way up. Let's make sure you can see that. And all of that beautiful groundberry, so beautiful. It's one of my favorites. I'm just gonna put this over here. Gonna pop our soda water. You don't have to mix this or anything. It does it for you.
It's so pretty. It makes me think of spring
Thank you.
or Miami.
Inspiring.
Either one works, right?
Sometimes cocktails, like, you're inspired by either what I read about people or what the time of the year is, and it's just really pretty.
It is, right?
Give you that one for Louise, this one for you.
Thank you.
And cheers.
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 So good.
The color, it's the color for me. So this year's color palette, is a little inspiring too. I love that new muted like salmon color and all of the greens and stuff. And one thing I find always to be true about how women create cocktail menus versus how men do it, or something that is your inspiration can come from different things. Like I read notes on guests, and then I'm like, well, it's Women's Month, and I just wanted it to be something that was, right on time with the colors and also just to be beautiful, just for the women.
It is beautiful. And I think you're so thoughtful in all of it, from all of those things to the style of glass that it's put into. I think it's the whole experience of the cocktail, and it's not just the flavors. So you're as magical as your cocktails, Gina.
Oh.
Magical. You like that?
You are.
Magical?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is a sleep-deprived chicken mama. My two main
chicken mama.
hens that are constantly following me around going, Mom, when are you going to stop with those birds?
Oh, they're not into it?
But they like to gather eggs every now and again, and they'll help me. And then a lot of times they're like, you like those birds more than us. I'm like, they don't talk back. Although they have attitude, I'll be honest with you. Chickens have attitude. Straight up. Yeah, I think it's just my time to escape,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
100%. And
So-
you need that.
So to make this cocktail, where are they gonna go?
You're gonna go to designateddrinker.show for the cocktail recipes, or follow us on Instagram at designateddrinker.show.
You absolutely will
Lots of great photos and little reels and stuff.
You get to see the behind the scenes.
Yep.
Yeah. See Gina at her best.
Yes,
making her magical cocktails.
Yeah.
Her elixirs. And the other thing we're gonna do is make sure that they have links to CAMPspace.
Yes.
In case they're looking for that space that's going to inspire them, be with other strong women, be with people that get you, that will push you, get you go further. It's
Did I
amazing.
miss something? Is it women only?
So it's not. So anybody can create a camp.
oh.
Anybody can book camp and produce their content there. Like I said, we've had the Real Housewives of Potomac do a full day shoot there. We've had lots of different
Candace is one of our
production companies.
friends.
Yes.
Hi, Candace.
Hey, Candace, girl, come back. Shoot a music video with us or something. But no, anybody can book it. And I think, here we go with the pivot. So we go from being a co-work space to being a content studio specifically for women. But now I'm really trying to lean into this space for entrepreneurs and creators to create the content that reaches their audiences, right?
Yeah.
And one thing about me, I'm going to switch it up however I need to find the sweet spot. But the fact is, we have guys that make content there all the time, and it's great too. And now when you go to the Instagram, it's going to skew more women, right? Because that's just who spends the most money with us, but listening to your audience. But no, anybody can create there. When you book it, you go on our website. Very easy, seamless process. You get the space all to yourself. It's private. It's professionally cleaned before every booking. You have access to the entire space. So it's from the front little courtyard, all the stuff inside. We have a beautiful kitchen. We have a lovely bathroom that people create content in.
Oh, for makeup and hair and stuff?
Shower stuff.
Yep, love that.
Beautiful backyard. You get that all with your booking. You can have it for 1 hour up to 16 hours.
Yeah.
It's all booked online. Keyless entry. You're there by yourself. Staff is not even there. It's yours for your time.
That's what's cool.
Yeah.
You're totally solo.
Yeah, it's you have it. You literally and so when you book it, we don't provide the photographer, the videographer. You bring that yourself, but we have so many creators and entrepreneurs who come there and they do it all on their phone. We have a tripod you can use. You bring your own, and you can get all the photos, all the video you need. Honestly, if you don't have the ends or the time to hire someone else, you literally can do it yourself too. We have lighting in there. We also have tons of natural light. So yeah, would love to see you all.
Yeah. That'd be a great spot to do some shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has
fun.
we have a podcast studio as well.
Yeah, look at
so
That's fun. I like that. Well, it's time, right?
I think so.
All right, so we have one last question. This is how we know if you listened to if you did your homework and listened to an episode.
I have a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's all right.
We are explicit, but yeah.
No. So in this day and age, as you well know, everyone identifies themselves with some sort of, animal or mythical creature or, something that defines you, right? Mm-hmm. If you define, maybe you see yourself as a chameleon, you're always a chameleon, but you can change your shade to be with everybody that's with you. If you can identify yourself as one ingredient, whether it be for food or for beverage, what would that ingredient be and why? First thing that pops in your head, go.
Tequila.
Yes!
It's gonna.
That's my spirit.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's gonna be cool depending on the tequila you got. It's gonna go down pretty cool and it's gonna be unassuming. But baby, when it gets in your system, it's gonna be a wild ride. Yeah. Not many people get to see that side of me, but she's there and it's life, right? Like,
I love
it's life.
That's a great answer. Also, tequila and coffee might be the only two things I ever need in my life. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Do we not always say that? I want a t-shirt that says
tequila.
Well, coffee, tequila, coffee, tequila.
Repeat.
Tequila. Yeah.
But we'll first trademark it and then put on a shirt. Let's do it. I'll wear them. Give me some.
That's it. I'll send it to you. I was like, I love it.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank
Happy
you for
Women's Month. Cheers, cheers,
Yes.
Sharing
Thank
your
you, ladies.
story with
Thank
us.
you. And congrats on such a cool platform. Like, I love the way you mix the things I love, right? Business, great conversations, amazing cocktails. I went to bartending school.
You
did?
did?
I did it for a year. I was a bartender for a year.
Where?
No, we're just private parties. Never behind a real bar, but
It's a real thing. It's a real my parents, if they were still with me, they would say, it's not a real job, Gina. It's a very real job.
Very real job. Very. So thank you. I had a lovely time.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company that is dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Rodger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers Bobbi and Mike Carducci. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. Please don't forget to subscribe, download, and review the shows. Your review helps our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.